All right, what's up, YouTube? Long time no see. This is week 0. We have some new faces. I'll introduce those guys to you here in a little bit, but just want to thank you guys for. I saw some of the comments saying where the boys at, where the fellas at, and we really missed doing the show, so we're just gonna see where this goes. We got Dion, new friend of the show. Dion, what's up, man? How you doing?
It's your boy Dion, East
Dion.
Coast,
Yep,
East
Dion.
Coast right now.
Yeah, he's a coach, and you're from Maryland. So I don't know. Well, we had Corby in the past who came from the East Coast, but you're representing Maryland today, huh?
I am from the lovely Prince George's County and Anne Arundel County for those areas. Shout out to North County. Shout out to Pat Downey and all those guys.
Yeah,
I'm from that area. Yeah.
who is some of the more famous wrestlers from your like area, your region?
Yeah, so Tyler Goodwin way back in like
Oh yeah.
2011, I think he was a really nationally ranked 125 pounder. Obviously the Kreisers, you know them from Iowa State and then Campbell, North Carolina. Kyle Snyder, of course.
Who's
I
that?
kind of grew up just some rando, just won a couple world Olympic titles, just nothing too crazy. Played with Stephon Diggs in high school, then just casually said, I want to continue to wrestle and win gold medals. So that guy.
Did you know Stefan Diggs at all, or no? That's not your
No,
school.
no, 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 no. So
Okay.
they were in like out in Washington D.C. area.
Oh,
So they went
okay.
to good counsel. So I was in the Central Maryland. I know it's small in the on the map, but when you actually get there, it's a lot of people, a lot of buildings and a small space.
So you don't know everybody from Maryland. You don't have a personal
I
story
don't.
with them. Okay.
I don't. I don't.
Okay. Well, and then now you're coaching here in the Des Moines Metro.
Yeah, yeah. So middle school coach at Roosevelt, and then I coach with high school too. So just trying to help get that program back up with Groth, who's the head coach of the high school program now, who's the son of Jay Groth, I think his name from Centennial. So yeah.
Cool, cool. And then we have another friend of the show, Bummy. Bummy's been around. Hey, if you're a Stalemates OG, you might remember Bummy from one of the best Stalemate Street League matches of all time with the Portillo brother. I know he didn't get the result that he wanted, but honestly, I think that match could have gone either way. That was one of the sickest matches that I've ever seen. That was probably one of the worst nights in Stalemate's history for me, but that was a pretty sick match. Bommy wrestled at Duke, wrestled at Mizzou, and Stalemate Street League veteran. Bummy, how's it going?
Yeah, what's up, stalemates? Yeah, that street league match. I think it went how I wanted. I wanted to win, but really wanted to go out there and compete and have fun, and it was a lot of fun. So, hopefully, you guys get in their card eventually, because I would love to come watch some people scrap. I think I'm retired past that point. That was, I think, the last semi-competitive match for me, but it was a lot of fun, and I would love to come watch other people do it.
How did you feel after that night? Like, were you kind of like, oh shit, this is why I'm retired? Like, this is why I don't do this anymore? Or was it kind of like, dang, I want to go again?
It was a little bit of both. I was coming off ACL surgery, so I was like, really knew I was done. But I was wrestling with some high school kids, and I was like, maybe I still got it. And I went out there, and I felt okay, but I knew, probably, no
It's not the same.
super high level aspirations after that. But
It's not the
you
same.
know, it's fun to go compete. I know that. Like I told my kids, I came home, I lost, but I miss competing. I had so much fun. So in the right event, I might do it, but nothing serious for me in wrestling anymore.
Yeah, I feel like that's the tough part about wrestling is it's like you got to be in such good shape to continue to like
Yeah.
do it, and it's not really a sport that you can just kind of like you can go out and play basketball with your boys and just kind of half-ass it and have a good time doing it, but at the end of the day, like with wrestling, there's really none of that. You got to be all in, and you got to be that's probably one of our mistakes with Street League was like not asking people what kind of shape they were in when they signed up to do it, because there was a lot of matches that people would be like this, oh, like oh, this like the accolades don't match up, this guy's way better than this guy, but when they actually went and wrestled, the guy who maybe didn't have the accolades was in much better shape than the guy coming, the other guy might have the better accolades, but he's just coming off the couch thinking, this guy's a scrub, whatever. But I mean, there's a reason
Yeah.
why shape matters. So,
You got to be
um,
ready to go in wrestling, and I think that's why we struggle with the adult, practices or leagues because you gotta be, committed to it. You can't just roll up and go 6 minutes hard or whatever.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Tyler, when you lived in Colorado, you used to do a adult
Mhm.
wrestling club. What were the guys like in that? Was it people who have never wrestled before and they wanted to try it, or was it former wrestlers that are like just trying to do something?
It was so many people actually who had never done it before, and a lot of people who did jujitsu and that somehow came across the club and wanted to try it to like, I don't know, get a different feel for jujitsu or something. I don't know if it would benefit them in that aspect, but there was tons of jujitsu people who would come in there. And it's funny you mentioned because I actually just checked to see if that club's still going and it shut down. So those leagues are tough to keep going, I think, like you said.
Yeah, Tyler wrestled. I mean, if you guys been following stalemates, you probably don't need a refresher, but Tyler started wrestling in high school, so he didn't have, the most experience in high school, but then when you started competing in this adult league, you actually did pretty well.
I did Rocky Mountain Nationals the second year I was in that rec league, and it was only one practice a week, but I felt pretty good going into it, and I ended up placing like fourth out of an 11th man bracket.
Oh,
But this is an old man tournament, so I mean,
that's
I won't
that's nice.
I won't say that's
Yeah.
anything crazy. I was happy with it.
But I mean, if you were to go and do corn cob here in Iowa, no offense, but you'd probably get your
Yeah,
ass kicked
I
because
think it'd be
that
different.
that is like, I mean,
Don't
that's the
do
real
corn
deal.
cob.
Did you do
Don't
it,
do corn
Dion?
cob. I did it one year and because I thought I
Yeah.
learned I learned really quickly
Yeah.
why, you did all those, freaking 3 mile runs on Saturdays in college. But yeah, I did corn cob, and then next thing you know, I could not breathe correctly for like
Oh,
3 days because like my my lungs just wasn't ready or wasn't prepared to expand and compress that because you're moving and you're doing things that you probably haven't did since college or whatever the case may be, and you recognize very quickly that I'm not in the same shape that I was in before.
Yeah, there was a guy. Okay, so Street League One veteran Garrett Owens. He's the one who wrestled Jake Agnew. He's a buddy of mine. Ended up wrestling at Graceland and stuff. So like he was, state qualifier. He's a legit guy. He went and wrestled Corn Cob multiple times, but there was one time that he went there. Well, he would always go there and be like, "Dude, this sucks." Which he likes to continue to wrestle. He coaches and stuff. He'd still he does. I would say quite a bit of these like adult wrestling tournaments, but he came to Street League 3 and told me that I can't remember the guy's name, but he's the one who wrestled my cousin. Um,
Talking about Garrett.
Garrett, no, oh, you know Garrett Owens.
Yeah, I know Garrett. We wrestled together. We were
Yeah,
teammates.
Graceland. Yes, I forgot
Yeah.
about that. So yeah, Garrett was telling me that he was wrestling this kid. Um, oh, I can't remember his name, but he was in Street League 3. I think his name might have been like Nathan or something. I don't know, but he ended
I
up
know what you're talking about.
he won he won Corn Cob, and that guy, I mean, that guy was super legit,
Mhm.
and he ended up yeah, he won Corn Cob. I'm like, dang, if those are the kind of guys that wrestle in Corn Cob, I don't want a piece of this at all. I don't want anything to do with wrestling in these adult tournaments.
I must say, I think the year I wrestled there, there was a couple Grandview just national champ All-Americans, and I think there was another older black dude. I think one of his kids like placed at the state tournament, and so he ended up wrestling there. I think it was like back in 2018, but he was like a four-time All-American for Iowa State, and 40 years old, still going out there just hitting slide bys and drags and just looking like the man, but obviously at 40. So you go to some of these, especially in Iowa, you go to these some of these like old men tournament, and you'll get guys that like has some credentials.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you got to be a real sicko to want to keep doing it. That's for sure.
For
yeah.
And
sure.
speaking of real sickos, I
Uh,
kind of know you guys from the Discord. You guys are some Discord sickos. You're part of the Discord crew. Tyler's not really in the Discord. He basically
Popping
looks.
during the season.
Yeah, he looks in there and goes, I don't want no part of that. But you guys have been, Bummy's been in there for a while. Dion's been in there for probably a year or so. I don't know if he was a lurker before, but that's kind of how we have all kind of kept up with each other throughout the years. There was some Discord drama though over the weekend, and I will say most of this Discord drama is usually between the Iowa and Iowa State fans. We're not going to make this podcast. I know that most people listening to this podcast are Iowa people, or if you're not from Iowa, you probably have some sort of invested interest in the Cyhawk duel. Maybe not. Maybe people not from Iowa don't give a shit about it, but does it get annoying to you guys seeing the Cyhawk drama? And you can be honest with me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I get annoyed of it. So like, what do you think of the Cyhawk drama that continues to go on throughout college wrestling fandom?
I love it. I love a rivalry, and I think it's two programs that are, you know a lot about. If you're in wrestling, even if you're not a fan of those programs, you hear all about them in other, media. So it's like I feel like I know the lineups probably better than I would know some other ones, and I think it's funny that some of the things you guys fight about will be the littlest things, and it's the only reason you're fighting is because one of you are an Iowa fan and one's an Iowa State fan. Otherwise, there would probably be no beef. But it's
I
like
mean,
a little thing will get called out and someone will lose their mind.
I get roped into this, and I'm trying to enjoy my Sunday. I'm trying to enjoy my Sunday with my family. And no, seriously, I'm not. I know you probably think that I'm the one causing this, but I'm like, don't get me wrong. I'm not 100% innocent. There are some times I might do something or I might act a certain way. But if any of the Cyhawk or the Cyclone Psychos, we'll call them, do anything, I get roped in, and I don't know if it's because I'm holding the flag or if I'm like the ringleader.
Stand with
You
them.
made yourself the spokesperson.
I'm gonna say you got to stand beside them.
I do, but there are some arguments that I'm just not willing to like go into, and if I get drug into it, there's some battles I just don't, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're like the captain and then you have generals going out and picking fights with the locals or, or the peasants in this case, I don't want to go out there. I don't want to go out there and have to fight these battles. Right now I'm focused on Stanford because that's our first duel of the season. I'm focused on Oklahoma State. They're trying to make a little comeback. We'll see if they can pull it off. Mizzou, right on our heels, as always. We'll get into that, I'm sure. But right now, I'm not focused on Iowa. I don't care about Iowa. I care about Iowa State, and I care about Stanford. That's November 8th. That's what I'm concerned about. So I am tired of having to deal with that kind of drama. Dion, are you a Maryland fan?
I am a Maryland fan. I love the Terps.
Who is your Iowa then? Like who is your Iowa?
I'm not trying to, down my program, but bottom half of the Big Ten is who I'll say.
Any of them can get it.
Yeah, and that's not to say that we haven't been, more competitive. It's just, I think in football it's a little different, but in wrestling it's just like, because like you think of Big Ten football or you think of Big Ten wrestling, it's like the SEC of wrestling. Whereas Big Ten football, it's not necessarily the SEC or like that. It is, but it isn't. You can still have like somebody from like Michigan State, big round of 12, All-American, whatever the case may be. In football, you can't really get that. And so it's harder for, these lower level teams or for somebody like Maryland to, compete in wrestling as it is, as it is in football, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So like it's hard.
That was a political answer. So, but you gotta give me one. Who can get it right now? Who are you gonna piss off in the YouTube comments right now?
Well, I'm gonna piss off Iowa State fans is what I'm gonna say. But
come on.
I ain't got no smoke for nobody in the Big Ten right now. I can't really stand no business. We are like, that's like punching up. Like we gotta.
I'm a Maryland supporter. I donated, and I'm calling out Purdue. That's
There we
it.
There we
go.
go.
There
Yeah.
we
I don't know if
go.
they even duel this year,
Forget you,
but
Boilermakers.
Yeah, Purdue, you punk ass bitch.
yeah.
I mean, I that was not Dion.
My name's
But yeah,
Dion and
nah.
Purdue. How about that?
But no, we got a couple good guys, and so we'll be competitive. But I
Bunch of
don't
weight
really see
changes. The whole team changing weights.
low key. Is it
Coach Clemson was my coach, so I do follow
Oh
Maryland. He
yeah,
did
oh
donate
yeah.
his first year there, but
And he's
yeah,
recruiting a lot of Missouri guys. Am I correct in saying that? Isn't there some Missouri guys been going out there?
yeah. Early on, he got the Miller brothers, or pretty high Park Hill recruits from Kansas City. He got
Mhm.
them, and yeah, he's got a few, and but they're all, I think, the 25, 41, 49, 97. They're like all changing weights this year, so it'll be interesting to see how everyone does at the new weight.
Okay, and Bummy, you're not getting off the hook either. Who would be who's the thorn in your side as a Mizzou? Are you a Mizzou fan or Duke? I mean, which side are you going to take
Yeah,
here?
I lived in Missouri and went to Missouri for, you know, all 4 years. I was at Duke for a year, so I, definitely follow and both. For Duke, I would love to beat North Carolina in a duel. And then for Missouri, I think our Iowa is Oklahoma State or Iowa. Like Iowa might be our Iowa. At least when I was there, it was like you did not want to lose to them, and we seemed to duel them a bunch, but. Okie State's probably the. And now you
I miss
guys,
those.
Iowa State's.
I
Yeah,
miss
Iowa
those
State.
Iowa. I miss those
No.
Iowa Missouri duels,
me
man.
too, man. That was a freaking time. That was a
Yeah.
Time
time.
Waters and Gilman. Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
Yes.
Bring back
Yeah.
national duels.
yes.
That
Oh,
national duels. I didn't even wrestle in any of those duels. I was there. I traveled. I was gonna wrestle in the Ohio State duel if we dueled them, but they got upset first round. Um, and yeah, that was probably my favorite wrestling memory ever. That those duels were fun, and that Iowa duel was heated. The fans were awesome. They were yelling, and their coaches were in our bench. It was that's I love that. I wish wrestling was always that. I wish people cared that much everywhere, but I was different.
was there a certain was there like a certain thing that was yelled out that you were like, damn?
Oh, like from fan, I mean, they were mean, and they were like when we were walking, we had to get like almost escorted to like our locker room because they were like kind of throwing stuff and yelling. So it was funny. But it was all good stuff, and nothing that I heard was out of pocket by any means. It was just funny stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, we had that shirt in the very beginning, like it said, Stallwater, right? The Iowa
Yeah.
shirt that we sold, and I think it was probably our number one seller, honestly. Um, but I got that from like a drunk Iowa fan. That I used to go to a lot of Iowa
They're
duels.
great.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit it, they got some funny guys around, but
Yeah.
For sure.
I remember. I used to go to a lot of the Iowa duels back in the day when Iowa State was sucking. It wasn't fun to be going to Hilton. I went, I'm a diehard. I was going, I was there, but I would go to a lot of Iowa duels, and it was obviously the Iowa Oklahoma State rivalry that was going on in that duel. And a guy stands up and he's like, "This ain't Stallwater," and I like wrote it down.
Taking
Someday,
notes.
someday I'm gonna start a podcast with my buddies, and we're gonna put that on a shirt. So.
That is hilarious.
I will say though, so after so I gave that shirt to Tom Brands, and in my first interview that we did with him, and then when I did the second interview with him, he told me that he did not he didn't know in the time that I was gonna do that, and he was like cool with it, he was fine with it. But then the second one, I remember him being like, "Yeah, I kind of wish we didn't do that," and I was like, "Oh, really?" And
Yeah.
he was basically said like, "Yeah, I got a lot of respect for John Smith." And I was like, "Oh yeah, well,
Right, right.
Yeah, sure.
well, yeah, whatever, whatever." No, I'm just kidding. It is cool that he was, that there might be tension at times between the two of them, but it's all competitive, and
Yeah, it's cool.
people like the shirt. What can I say? All right, so we're gonna get into these segments here. We got 3 segments on this show. We are going to try and rotate and do new ones throughout the season. Obviously, with this being week 0, we have nothing to really talk about in terms of what's going on because we are coming off the off season. And I will say, it kind of feel. And I don't know if this is like recency bias, but it feels like it's been very slow lately in the wrestling world. Not a lot has happened. A lot of the stuff happens during the transfer portal time period, but we're going to get into this whether you like it or not, I guess. Segment 1, we have, it's called Hornius versus Cornius. Now, last week or a couple weeks ago, Nick Stimmett called out AJ Ferrari. They're going to wrestle in their first duel of the season. If you guys don't remember, Nick Stimmett and AJ Ferrari got into it like 2 years, 3 years ago whenever AJ Ferrari was wrestling last. Called him out. I don't know what he called him, but he called him a bunch of names. AJ Ferrari ends up whooping him. He ends up major decisioning him. Something like that, right? I don't know what it was. I don't know what the score was. But anyways, Nick Stimmett wants the smoke again, and he called AJ Ferrari the horniest and corniest wrestler in college wrestling. So in this segment, we're going to call out who we think is the horniest and the corniest wrestling programs. Horniest, not in terms of sexual sense, because these are youths that we're talking about. I know they're legal adults, but we're not going to talk about it in that sense. We're going to talk about it in terms of who is the horniest team they are horny to get back on the podium, and who is the corniest team, not necessarily because they're corny, but they're going to take a step back this year. They had a good year last year, but this year they're probably not going to be as horny as they were last year. So I will go first. I think that the horniest team in college wrestling is Oklahoma State. I'm sure. Were you guys all?
Took all of our answers.
Were you guys all three?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
at least one of them. Yeah.
Okay, that's why I wanted to go first. All right, I was gonna.
You got it.
I said the same thing earlier. I was like, I got to go first to get this off.
Okay, so we don't all have to go through each and every answer, but we'll go. Well, if somebody has a different answer, we'll go through it. But I said Oklahoma State. I think they're the horniest to get back on the program because they finished 10th last year. Which, if you know Oklahoma State fans and you follow their fandom, those people have a very high expectation. John Smith steps away. They bring in David Taylor. They're making these frat boy hats. I don't know if you saw these cowboy wrestling hats that they're kind of sick, but also I got to find something to poke fun of them at because they're in the Big 12 now, and we are the current Big 12 champions. So I got to make sure that they know that. But I think that they're the horniest team to get back on the podium with all the changes that they've made. They've obviously done a lot of good things, bringing in Zahid Valencia, bringing in Robin Bravo Young with their RTC, Thomas Gilman. I can't wait to see him go back into Carver this year. That is going to be sick. But you can't doubt that with this roster, bringing in Dean Hamidi, all these Hendrickson. Who else have they brought in?
The 74-pounder from Wisconsin. Hamidi.
Amin, Caleb Fish. They're even bringing in
Spratley.
backups.
Spratley from Minnesota. Yeah,
Spratley. So they are horny to get back on the podium. Did I steal everybody's answer? Bummy, you said that you had somebody else in mind.
Yeah, that was my first one. I'm going to hop in on the second one so it doesn't get taken too. I kind of went on the Ferrari topic here at Oklahoma State as one, but Iowa as my number two.
Okay, I like that. That was the one I was gonna pick, but I didn't want to pick on those guys too much today.
And I don't think it's just the podium for them. I think they have to be top two, or I think it's bad news. With everyone they brought in, if they can't finish top two, I think if you look at kind of the national media, they're projected way higher than probably the third place team of Okie State. I think they're expected to get, second. I don't think they're going to catch Penn State, but I think they have to get second, or I think it's a failure, especially after not making, the podium. They're expected to be up there, and I think they'll want to take top two, not just top four here, three, whatever it is now.
And do we think that's going to happen? Do we think that they're going to finish top two? I mean, they have also brought in one hell of a roster. I feel like during the beginning of the portal season, they were getting a lot of crap because they really weren't getting anybody, and all of their portal guys came at the last second. Some guys even, the first day of school. I don't know how that happens anymore. Iowa State did it as well, so I'm not throwing shots at them. Aiden Riggins came on the first day of school as well. Apparently, there's loopholes within the system. I don't even know what's going on anymore, but they were getting a lot of crap for not really making a lot of moves, and then obviously their recruiting classes haven't been as highly touted as they've been in the past. But they seem to pull a rabbit out of a hat. And do we think that Iowa's going to finish second place? Obviously, Penn State's going to be first unless something happens to them, but. Are we picking Iowa to get second this year?
Yeah.
I
So
Why do you think so, Tyler?
I just think that with their transfers, they filled in some good holes. They have some people coming off of red shirts, Keeter full time. I don't know what they're going to do at 84, but I feel like they've filled out a lot of their gaps from last year. And so I feel like they're poised pretty well as long as all these transfers pan out and everything like that. I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they probably will as well. Ja'Cory Teamer, 157 pounds. Apparently, he's the number one ranked guy in the country. He did lose to a guy last year named Cody Chittum, I think. But other than that, I don't. He's a good guy. He did really well at nationals. And Stephen Buchanan, he's going to get right away. They are going to wrestle. He's going to wrestle Trey Munoz. The Oregon State duel is next week, I believe. So that'll be a good test for him right off the bat. And like you said, Ben Keeter wrestling full time is obviously going to be a positive for them. Dion, did you have Oklahoma State as well?
I did. Actually, I thought about a couple because I figured, Oklahoma State will get chosen. I figured Iowa would get chosen. Tyler, if you were thinking of Michigan as well, I apologize. I'm not going to choose Michigan though. I'm gonna choose Ohio State. I think with the core, young kids that they're bringing back with, obviously Mendez and Feldman and even Rogatsky, all three of those guys, champ, runner up, and I forgot what Feldman placed. They got a young core group, and so I think they are, trying to continue kind of opposite of, the Iowas, the Oklahoma States, where they have those transfers that they have that like one shot to get to the podium. So these guys, they need to score points. But I think with Ohio State, it's kind of homegrown. They got, they've been, grooming these kids up for a couple years now. So I think they're, trying to push for a podium spot, especially with Sasso coming back after, the year that he's had. And, maybe even with Tom Ryan and, the year that he's had, I think they may have some faith in that Buckeyes room to get back on the podium.
I think that's a really good answer. You were killing it until you said grooming these kids in the horny segment. But
yeah.
I'm sorry, Dan.
I didn't want to say pause in the middle because I'm trying to. I did, but yeah, pause.
It's all right. We knew what you meant. We knew what you meant, but that is a good point here. It feels like Ohio State has been slipping a little bit in these past few years. They did just re-sign Tom Ryan, so clearly they don't give a shit. They think he's a guy to take them, back to that 2015 national title championship team. Is that right? 2015.
Yeah.
Am I right on that?
And then 2018 was when like both them and Penn State just went bonkers with the score.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are one of the few teams that could actually push Penn State, from the top of the mountain. We'll see what happens, but I think that's a good answer. So, Oklahoma State, Iowa, and Ohio State, the three horniest teams in college wrestling. You heard it here first. My corniest team was already mentioned, though. I picked Michigan as my corniest team. Last year, they placed third place. This lineup, unless there's something I'm missing, I pulled up the WrestleStat depth chart, and outside of a few guys, first of all, I don't think they have anybody in their lineup that is a national title contender. So I don't think Michigan's going to be bringing home a national champion, an individual champion. I don't see them finishing in the top three. So obviously, if they don't finish in the top three like they did last year, you're taking a step back. They did bring in Josh Heinzelman as a late portal transfer. I don't think he's going to change or really, push the envelope for them too much. They did bring in Chase Saldate from the rival Michigan State. Maybe he's on a revenge tour. Maybe he's been getting some mean tweets because he transferred, in-state rival or whatever. Maybe he's motivated. That's going to push him. But I think they're going to have some big point scorers from Limley and is it Mantanona at 65?
And 197, right? They got a transfer
Oh yeah,
there.
Cardenas.
Oh, Jacob
Um,
Cardenas. That's the big one.
That's the
yeah.
one I kind of forgot about because I had them as well in my corniest. I think they're could be fighting to be top 10 after being top three. And maybe that's, a little disrespect to them. I think they have guys that could for sure, move them up into the top five. But when I first looked at it, I just had them, I think finishing around 11th, which after a third place finish, I'm sure they would not be super thrilled with. But Cardenas is, he could for sure win it, and I wouldn't be shocked at 197. I know AJ's back, but that weight could kind of be anyone's at this point.
So
Yeah.
you and I both have Michigan. What do you guys have?
I had Arizona State losing
Okay.
Emer, Parco. I mean, they have 5 returning NCAA qualifiers. They do have Figs, they have Schultz. But from that, I feel like they've lost some of their key players to kind of round out their team as a whole. And they finished, 6th last year? Yeah. And so I see them falling back probably out of the top 10 this year.
Yeah, I was looking at. I should have thought of them. I didn't think of them. That was a good pick, Tyler.
Yeah.
I was looking at their lineup the other day. I came across a forum. People were talking about Arizona State's lineup, and their 184 pounder is kind of interesting. Have you guys heard about this guy? He is. I don't even know.
Fazulayev.
Yes, thank you. I was gonna wrestle stat his name, but
Aziz Fazulayev. I think that's how
I
you.
don't know. I don't
yeah.
know about
So
them.
I've never heard this man.
they're taking a page out of Dresser's playbook. Of course, he's the one writing the freaking playbook. But
Of course.
they brought in an international kid. Do you know where he's from? Do you have it in front of you, Dion? No, that's
I've
all right.
never
So
heard of this man
he's not
before.
from the United States, and he is a U23 champion, I think, a couple times, or U20 or something like that. But
Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan, there we go.
Oh, he's a
And-
transfer
Wow.
from
And
Northwest
so-
College.
Yes. So the thing that's different from him than a Younger or Echemendia, who came straight from Cuba, is he's actually already been wrestling folk style, and he's a 2-time JUCO champion already. So I think this guy's gonna come in and I mean, we don't really know much about him, but I think this guy's gonna come in and be pretty good right away.
For sure. I think and being from NAI, I kind of know some of those areas, and there's a couple guys I think it's I'm not even going to pronounce his name, but I think there's like a 33 pounder from Menlo who's like from like Mongolia or something like that. So it's not, uncommon for some of those foreign guys to kind of find homes in, some of these lower tier programs just because, restrictions and whatnot. So it's kind of cool to kind of see the D1 level kind of get back to that.
Yeah. So I think Arizona State has some potential. Obviously, the Larkin kid is pretty good as well, right?
True.
Caleb
And they
Larkin.
have Manville coming in at 149. He should be solid. See how he does his first year.
Shakopee boy. He wrestled in my high school for 2 years.
Shout out.
One guy, Pearson, love him. Hopefully he's ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
Do you
love-
think he'll be ready to go right away, or what do you think will happen?
I think he could be ready right away. I don't know what the ideal weight for him is with Larkin. I don't know if they're gonna kind of be similar size. So obviously, if that's the case, Larkin's, gonna go. But I think, based on his style and how much wrestling he's done in his life, I think he's college ready.
Okay.
I hope he goes.
So we got Michigan, we got Arizona State. Does anybody have who'd you have, Dion?
I'm gonna be honest. I think Tyler actually took my answer because I was
Okay.
thinking about Arizona State when I'm thinking of the corneas, just because because you think of all these guys that I don't want to say they've been poached because
Yeah.
with the freestyle stuff, that could be an answer because even like and I guess women's freestyle is different, but like a lot of guys that were point scorers have like left their team, and so you just get it to a situation where they're just not going to, place the same unless they're able to, replace potentially first place points or whatever. But honestly, I can't really think. Well, I do, but I want to save that answer for
Uh-oh.
the
Okay.
next topic.
All right.
I have someone calling in for their
tease.
take.
You have someone calling in?
Just a second.
Uh-oh.
Hey Siri, call AJ Ferrari.
Oh, we got it. We got it. Ferrari music. I
I
wish.
know. We can go to the
I
next segment.
Get them on.
I think I have 4 AJ Ferrari phone numbers in my contacts, and I don't know which one is him, but maybe we could get him on.
I
Maybe
think I got it. So if we can confirm, later which one it is.
we can cross.
AJ Ferrari.
we, we can we can
That was
cross
such a
check our.
funny episode.
Let's check our Ferrari numbers.
All right. Dion brought up segment number 2. So this one is called "Are You Taking Me?" Guys, I am rusty. I thought Horniest and Corniest was good, but this one might be not as good. But anyways, beginning of the season, this is the time where you do what I did a couple years ago, where I picked Casey Swiderski, who had never wrestled a college match, to win a national title. Okay. And by that, I mean, what is your hottest take of this season? I'm going to go last because I don't even know if I have mine ready yet. Dion, you're ready to go. What you got?
I think I am. And I promise you, to you Iowa State fans, I love you guys.
Oh, no.
I
Don't
appreciate
do it.
you guys.
Don't do it.
You always schedule Oklahoma State around my birthday, and I appreciate it so much, especially this year. It's like the same weekend. Like, I love y'all guys.
Uh-oh.
But
Uh-oh.
my hottest take is I don't think Iowa State places like top 6 this year.
Okay.
Oh,
Let us
on
in.
this show.
Why would you do that?
And in my defense, this wasn't my original thought, but when I thought about it, like out of all the teams that are coming back, because like last year there was like a lot of parity, like the amount of teams that the point differential was like 10 or less.
Yeah, it was
a
close.
lot.
It was close.
And I don't think that's going to be the same this year. And I don't think Iowa State are going to have the same guns that other teams have right now.
Okay. Well, I haven't won a
two.
national title, so
He's
I
calling
mean,
you the corniest, I think. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
yeah. At least we're not the. I guess.
And that's not to say that like they can't place high. It's just I feel like there's just a lot of variance.
You think
in
they're a
what
little
they can
overhyped?
do. No, I didn't say that. I said there's variance. There's variance. There's
You
a
hate
difference.
them.
So, like I just like Evan Frost, great wrestler. But 133 is a really tough. Yes, he's an All-American, but 133 is a really tough weight class. Is Evan Frost is going to have the same year that he had last year? Like, if he does, yes, that helps you guys chance of going top 6. But if he doesn't, that like I don't think y'all have that many shots to get the most amount of points.
That's fair. That's fair. Hey, I like it because I think that did you watch The Last Dance?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I don't like
Did anybody no Michael Jordan fans in here? Okay, well Michael
this is a
Jordan.
wrestling podcast.
Michael Jordan used to find things to motivate him. If he didn't have something that the media would say to motivate him, he would literally go and make up a storyline to get himself motivated so he could go out there and beat everyone's ass every single night.
Please.
So
I love Iowa State.
there's Iowa State wrestlers that listen to this podcast. I hope that they're remembering your face when they're wrestling.
I love you.
When they're wrestling throughout the season, when they're wrestling Oklahoma State on your birthday, I hope that they ruin your birthday by beating Oklahoma State so badly, and that you might even get clipped into a TikTok edit. You've seen those football players that are clipping these TikTok, they're doing these TikTok edits. I'm just saying, Dion. I'm just saying.
A ref said that like I wrestled like Kyvan Gatz in a match. I just like I really and okay and also like y'all beat Kyvan Gatz did beat Kyle Snyder. So like again like it's not.
Yes, he did. That's where this is coming from. That's where this is coming from.
No, like I was okay with that.
And we stole Kreiser from your state. And we stole Pat Downey from your state. So I get the Iowa State hate. I get it. That's fine. That's fine. I don't agree with you, but Tyler, what's yours craziest take of the year?
All right, I thought of a better one. I had a lukewarm take, but I thought of a better one. Call me biased to my alma mater, but I'm going with 285 Ben Keeter, national champion.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That is a hot
time.
Buddy spends.
I know the world stage at U20s doesn't always equate, but he was just getting started. Just started full time. Give it a whole season. By by March, the landscape's going to be completely different.
Buddy spends 1 week with Ben Keeter, filming a documentary, and now he's writing him off as a national champion. I mean, anything can happen.
It's almost like saying Casey Sidorsky will win one his freshman year.
True.
Pretty similar, probably.
Yeah, well, okay. My logic behind that, I don't want to go bring all that up, but my logic behind that was everybody was picking Jesse. Like 141 was kind of open that year. If I don't, he also a couple weeks later wrestled Real Woods, who most people predicted to win that weight in a very close match. His like second or third match out of high school, he beat Jesse Mendez twice. So you have data to back up your points. I thought I had a little bit of data to back up my point. Clearly I was wrong. Hopefully you're wrong in my case. Actually, I like Ben. I'm not cheering against Ben, but I hope that he doesn't win a national title. I guess that means I'm cheering against him. I hope Younger wins it, obviously, but
second, right?
I hope he loses the Younger in the finals. How about that? But yeah, what do you guys think? Ben Keeter, national title.
You got Kirk.
The top four are so good.
Feldman. Like you said, you got Younger. If Younger doesn't hurt his finger, he's slapping somebody on his head, man.
Dion, you're never going to be able to come to Ames.
No. I love Younger. Like, I was cheering for Younger. I was a part of the Younger train last year.
All right.
I promise.
This year, you're not.
But I am the biggest David Carr fan.
Okay.
I went to Omaha to watch David Carr. Okay.
Well, let me show you this David Carr tattoo on my back.
All right. I'm gonna say I had David Carr over Messenbrink, so I don't want to hear.
Okay.
Nothing.
A lot of people did.
I was hyped. Exactly. I had him over Messenbrink and
Whoa.
and old buddy from Missouri. I'm sorry, Tyler. O'Toole. There we go.
Okay, Bummy, what's yours?
I don't know if this is that hot of a take, but I think the Big 12 will have more NCAA champions than any other conference.
Okay.
I was talking about the SEC of conferences, and I think that's not the Big 10. That is the Big 12 now.
Who do you have winning national titles from the Big 12?
Let's see, off the top of my head, Keckeisen.
I was going to say, you have to have Keckeisen. That's one.
That might also be a warm or hot take. I don't know. I think you got O'Toole is 2, and then Alirez and Figs. So that's 4. And then maybe in 197, Elam. And I think Bastida and Hendrickson have between 285. I think they have just as good of a shot of winning
half
it.
A finger. So
I want you to know.
Yeah, we'll give it 4.5, 5. And I think the Big 10 has 2 max.
2. Who do you have?
I'll run through it quick. Just top of the head. We got Figs, and then we got Crookham, not Big 10. Alirez, not Big 10. Hinson, not Big 10. Meyer, not Big 10. Messenbrink, I think, is the biggest lock at any weight, in my opinion. So Big 10. O'Toole, Keckeisen. I got my boy AJ Ferrari at 197, I think. If he's really back and healthy, which I don't think he comes back if he's not healthy. So I think he's ready to go. Obviously, that weight could be Elam, Buchanan, anyone. Messenbrink and Kirk would probably be the 2 Big 10 guys I have. But I think and Hendrickson could do it. So, Big 10 ends with 1 NCAA champion.
That would be fire.
And imagine.
That would be so fire, dude. I would get
Penn State would implode.
Did it? Somebody posted in the Discord, did Bash have 9 Penn State national champions?
Yeah, it was.
I'm sure, yeah.
Man.
It was 8 or 9.
All of them besides 33.
Like, all the coin flip was just Penn State.
I respect that. I don't know. I mean, I respect that you're riding for your.
It's tough.
I respect riding for your guys like that, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, realistically,
you gotta see
they
them.
could win. I mean, like, not even me being a Penn State homer at all. I mean, you could see 7 or 8, like, where it's like, maybe. But 9's absurd to me.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
I think
it would be
84.
It would be cool to have a team where you could pick 9.
Yeah. even an option.
champions, as options. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like I wouldn't be able to do that right now with this Iowa State lineup, but I mean,
Yeah, close.
I could maybe do like three and get like laughed at, but
Yeah.
I don't think three is gonna happen. But it would be cool to like be like, yeah, like there's a shot at nine.
Yeah. I mean, they're just different. I mean, they don't even think about winning duels. They're like trying to break point records and most champ records, and it's like it has to almost not even be fun as a fan at this point.
Okay. And my are you taking me? My hot take is, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of lazy with this one. I spent a lot of time with the other two, so this one is a little bit lazy. You have AJ Ferrari winning 197. I think there's a chance that he does an All-American at 197.
Yeah.
And I'll break that down for you. At 197, you have Stephen Buchanan, Cardenas, Rocky Elam. They have AJ Ferrari ranked fourth, Trey Munoz, Stephen Little, Isaiah Salazar, Michael Beard. And then, after that, there's some guys that could All-American. Obviously, Braun Eagle. I don't know who Joey Novak is. I'm sorry, Andy Smith. So it does.
Minnesota boy, Novak, super good on top.
Glazier's at 12. Obviously had a good last year. Poznanski. So there's good guys. What I'm saying is this. AJ Ferrari could very well win this weight. Obviously, he's been a national champion before. He knows what it takes. But he was training at Oklahoma State. I don't know who the hell he's training with at CSU Bakersfield. I know he had pictures with Evan Wick. I know Evan Wick is around in California. I think he's at Cal Poly, but maybe he's coming down. Maybe they're bringing guys in for him to train with. But I can't imagine that he has anybody that is really pushing him to the limits. Maybe I'm a complete idiot here and I'm just maybe that doesn't matter as much. Bummy, you would know more than me, and Dion, you guys both wrestled in college, but I would assume you have to have some good training partners to push you, right?
For sure. I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think when you think about Hendrickson coming down to Oklahoma State, he talked about, being in positions that, he had never been in at
Right.
not Arizona State, at Air Force, being at Oklahoma State. And so I think at some point that can hinder you. And I think I like that take. I think if, you get a wonky NCAAs at that, this year at 97, where he may face, someone like Rocky or Trey or like one of the top tier guys, I think there could be a situation where, he cannot place. But I think when you're at that level, when when you've already been like a national champ, I just think there's a level that you kind of hang around at, as you get better, as you, continue to train, like you'll up that level. But I think if you don't have those partners, I think it would be tough to maybe win those like kind of upper tier matches, especially coming off of that 2-year hiatus that he had.
And if you saw him wrestle at the Soldier Salute last year, obviously we saw what happened, the part that went viral, but if you actually watch the matches, like he didn't look phenomenal. And I know that Glazier's a good wrestler, and maybe that's just a style thing. And I know AJ, when he wrestled his freshman year, he wasn't always lighting the scoreboard up. There was a lot of matches that were close, and that's kind of maybe the style that he has. But if you think about it, during that time period, how much was he really training then? So he didn't look great then, and maybe he didn't have the best training situation then. And I think it's probably a similar situation here where is he going to have the best training partners at CSU Bakersfield? I think it's really cool for them to have a guy like him around, and maybe he can really elevate some of the other guys in that program to get on his level. And I hope he still does the day in the life. So I liked watching that. That was kind of funny to see him interact.
Watching that, though, no disrespect to his coach he was rolling with, but I don't think you're too far off on that. Room's a little bit sparse for training partners with them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Shots fired from Tyler.
You just have motivation, AJ.
The fourth place Colorado champion over there calling shots at CSU Bakersfield's coach or whatever. But no,
Double
seriously, double birds. But seriously, I don't think it's that far off to think that he gets put in a situation where, maybe he's not going to have the best seed, and maybe he loses a close one on the front side because that other guy's going to have, that edge on him because he's got a better training setup, falls to the backside. He ends up wrestling somebody who gets upset or whatever. I'm not predicting this to happen, but if we have to have a hot take, there's got to be a hottest of takes, and I think this is mine. I think there's a chance that AJ Ferrari, and I think there's a chance that he does an All-American. I mean, who knows if he even gets to that point in the season?
I'm kind of with you. I
For
think
real.
I obviously said I have him as my national champion. I coached slash wrestled with AJ for 2 years when I was in Texas, and just kind of knowing him, I don't think he would do this if he wasn't ready. So that's kind of where I'm going with the national champion thing. Obviously, that was 6 years ago now. Maybe I'm just completely wrong, and I think for him it's either national champion or nothing at all. I just don't see him coming back and fighting for third or fifth place. So that's kind of how I feel on it. And
I will say
I,
this. I've always heard from people, you go to places and you talk to people. I have always heard that he trains really hard and that he's the hardest worker in the room. I remember talking to, we went down to Little Rock, and obviously there's a lot of Oklahoma State people there. And they said that, like, yeah, you can laugh about him and stuff, but everybody that's ever been around the kid says that he trains ridiculously hard. So
does.
hopefully he's able to have people around him that can, and hopefully for his case, that he can have people in his corner that can push him to those limits. But I just don't think he's gonna be able to be the same AJ a couple years later, and also at CSU Bakersfield. But Stephen Neal figured out a way to do it, so maybe he can too.
And I want to add one more thing that you said.
Go ahead.
And I do want to add one thing that you said, because you talked about how, like, he didn't really light up the scoreboard to begin with. And when you think of guys like, Jesse Mendez or, Real Woods, Spencer Lee, guys that, are going to attack and going to score points. That's not the, I don't think I would, quantify AJ Ferrari as that type of person. I think he's, super strong, really good defensive, positioning and things like that. And, can get 1 or 2 scores. But I think, when you aren't that and you're trying to get back to, being at that level, not having that offense, I think kind of puts a pause to, trying to, quantify where he's going to end at, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, like, he wasn't the most offensive wrestler to begin with. And so, with someone like Hendrickson, maybe his offense will get better because he's at Oklahoma State. When your offense wasn't already, top tier, and you're not really going to the best training situation, what's going to make us think that things are going to be different?
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more.
Still the slickest, fastest Ferrari you've ever seen. That won't change. So
Slickest, fastest, horniest, and corniest.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. I don't agree. Those weren't my words.
Yeah.
Kidding, he's not corny.
He's not corny. He might be horny. Who knows? He's a youthful man. So
Control your horny, please.
Yep. All right. Segment number 3, the final segment. I want to end it on this note. We don't have to spend a bunch of time talking about it, but this segment is called Help, Help, I'm Sick, I Can't Get Up. I'm a little rusty coming up with these names, but I spent a lot of time on ChatGPT last night trying to come up with some of these titles. They weren't giving me anything good, so I just kind of made up something here. But
go.
What would make you guys absolutely sick if it came to fruition this year? Like, what would really eat at your soul if it happened? It could either be, your favorite wrestler, something bad happening to them, or maybe your team that you hate doing something. Like, what would make you sick? And Tyler, you want to go first?
Man, this one was hard for me. I'll just get it out of the way since I go first. I'll just take the low-hanging fruit, but I was worried about it last year. I'm going to be maybe worried about it this year, is Iowa State. This being the year where Iowa State beats Iowa.
Okay.
I haven't looked into it enough to see if that's actually going to align or not, but I was worried about it last year for real. So
I will say,
keep building, I think, so it could happen.
Well, because you did that, I'll go next, and mine would be, it would make me absolutely sick if Iowa beat Iowa State. So we're just gonna do that here right now.
Someone's gonna be sick.
someone's got to be sick, and it's probably going to be me because it's my birthday weekend, and I feel like it's just like I can't have too much fun in one weekend. But I don't know. Every year on paper, I'm like, oh, we're gonna beat their ass next year, and then they cheat or they do something where they bring in guys, they buy these guys, they bring them in, they give them billions and billions and billions of dollars, all this wasteful spending, bringing in these kids, stealing from programs like Arizona State, stealing from programs like Oklahoma, all that's going on over there, and they end up freaking pulling out a lineup that we don't normally that we didn't see happening, and I don't know. It's been what 20 years? I mean, it's literally been 20 years since we've won.
Yeah.
I think it was 2004 was the last time Iowa State did it. Doesn't matter. But if that happens, we'll move on and we'll see who places higher in March. That's what matters. And I don't really care that much about a duel in November, right? It's just
Nope.
it's a non-conference duel. Doesn't mean anything to
Just
anybody.
practice.
Just practice. And I'll say this, I feel like every year that we are not supposed to win, we get pretty damn close to winning, or like it's like a one thing away from happening. Last year, I thought we were winning. Like I damn near had the t-shirts printed, had to ship them off to Africa after, it said Iowa State, Cyhawk champions 2024 and then or 2023 whatever, and I had to just ship them off to kids that were in need, and because they weren't gonna work anymore. But in 2019, we almost won. I thought we were going to get slaughtered, and we were at Austin
Shout out
Gomez.
Gomez.
Yeah, we were at Gomez. We actually shout out to Santa if you're an Iowa fan because he didn't get pinned. But that was a year and that was at Carver.
God.
And that was at Carver.
Oh my God, that was so crazy.
Crazy things happen every year. Last year we messed up because we didn't know how much time was on the clock. So crazy things happen. Bummy, what's yours?
Well, the first one, I got a new one, just a short one. I'll be sick if Ferrari isn't a thing. I want to see him be who he was and be in these duels. I think it'll be good for wrestling. I'm not saying I'll be sick if he doesn't win a national title, but if all of this hype ends week one with him losing to Nick Stimmett, I'll be sick. So that's just kind of a quick one from our last topic. And then my actual one is if Missouri, shout out, finishes outside the top 10 back-to-back years after I think 9 or 10 straight years of being in the top 10. I'm a Mizzou alumni and fan. I was looking at some, I think, whatever, Willie Saylor and Flow rankings, and we were like anywhere between 13 and 16. So this is kind of my call an ambulance, but not for you thing. I think we are typically maybe overhyped a little bit, but I think this year we are the opposite. There's no way we're finishing 13 or 16. If we're not in the top 10, I will be shocked. We got some dudes ready to scrap, and if I'm wrong again and we're outside the top 10, I will be sick.
And I think a positive for you guys is it's not in Missouri. And I feel like when Nationals are in Missouri, something happens
Some
to you
really
guys.
bad years have happened, yeah.
So,
But yeah.
but I think I like that. I like that. I think
don't think we're going to win a trophy. I'm not saying we're top 3 or 4, but man, I was looking and people had us like way down the list, and that would make me sick. What do you guys think, Missouri?
I
Over
have
under top 13.
Man, I
Top,
haven't looked at their lineup hardly at all. Who'd you guys? Oh, I heard Cam Steed's looking pretty good. I thought I saw something about that. He's going to be
yeah,
the
so
new
Steve,
65 pounder. I like that. And
he's
then,
been like, yeah, really hyped up. And the issue for him was just he's behind O'Toole. He tried to cut down to 57 and I think lost an overtime to Mahler. It wasn't his like true weight. And then obviously Mahler was really good. So he was kind of stuck. And then I think we have two national finalists between O'Toole and Elam. And I think that's probably good enough right there to get you pretty close. And then,
any transfers or freshmen coming in that'll be in the lineup?
Um, no, I don't think so. Certain at 125, I think we'll hold it down. We got this gauge. We had our wrestle offs last week, and Gage Walker looked really good. So shout out to him. I don't know him, but he was in a little four-man bracket and kind of put it on some other really good wrestlers. So I don't know if him and Noah will split time. Noah wasn't at Wrestle Off, so I don't know what's going on there, but. It's pretty much the same team. We have Nitzel coming in for our heavyweight Elam, but you have O'Toole back, Elam back, Hawks back, Steed stepping in.
Edmund solid, if you didn't say him.
Yeah, so it's a fun team, pretty exciting team. But man, hopefully we're in the top 10.
They're a fun team to bet on because I feel like you guys get a lot of pins and a lot of points.
They're pinners. Certain will gods aren't pin anyone. You never know with him. And then obviously O'Toole and Steed are both pinners. But
A
yeah,
lot of
it's
top wrestling out of Missouri.
it is. Yeah. Even now living in Minnesota, it's funny. Just the different styles in different states, you can see it pretty clearly. I think it kind of trickles down from the colleges to the high school level, maybe because, yeah, Minnesota, the Gophers, big underhooks, kind of Greco type wrestling, really good upper body, and you see that a lot in the high school level. So Missouri's kind of the same way.
Dion,
I
what's gonna
def
make you sick?
So one, I agree with Bummy. Even just,
Yeah.
coming from Maryland and coming to Iowa, like you just look at some of these JV kids and it's like, yo, you would probably be a starter at some of these Maryland schools just because like they probably wrestled from 5 to
Yeah.
however old and they just are just go, 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 go. But I have like three things that are going to make me sad. Some of my bias is going to show up because I'm a Maryland fan, obviously, and so I love Maryland. I want them to do good, and I want Maryland to go back to the Kerry McCoy days of All American, multiple All Americans, or just All Americans in general. Shout out to Jimmy Sheptock. Shout out
Heck
to
yeah.
Spencer Myers, and so I would be very, very sad if Maryland doesn't get an All-American. I think Jackson Smith, he had a really great year last year. I just think I don't know exactly what happened, but I just think kind of towards the end of the year, maybe it was the weight, maybe he's not as big, maybe that's why he's going down. But whatever it was, he just didn't have the greatest showing at NCAAs. And, even some of their other guys, Cal Miller, Ethan Miller, Braxton Brown, like they had pretty good Big Tens, had a couple wins throughout the year. I think Cal, one of the Millers, had like beat Cole Matthews and just had a couple, solid wins throughout the year. And, as your boy Clemson continues to, guide the program, I just want him to be able to, push one guy onto the podium and, really, put that flag back on, Maryland as a good wrestling school and as a good wrestling state. For
Yeah.
my other two, just because, Maryland adjacent, Kyle Snyder and Miles Martin went there, and so I kind of like Ohio State, just by proxy of them too. And so another one is I really like Jesse Mendez. I'm kind of a big Ohio State fan, and so if Jesse Mendez does not repeat, I'm gonna be very, very sad. I was almost very, very sad when he almost lost to Bo Bartlett. Shout out to Savage. And then I would also be sad if Sammy Sasso does not All-American or even, become a NCAA qualifier. Just because, again, I'm an Ohio State fan. I love Sasso. Love that PA wrestler that he is. He's had multiple time finalists, trying to, finally win a national title. And unfortunately, he was behind guys like Yanni. And I think even the year that he almost won, I forgot who he lost to, but it just you just hope that he's able to finish his career in a way that, he's proud of.
Yeah, I think Sammy Sasso is a good one. I think that would be a good redemption story coming back from getting shot, which was obviously not very chill, not very cool. He's also going up to 165 pounds, which is something that I didn't see coming. Sure, you
I thought
guys,
57 at least.
yeah.
I
I mean,
didn't I did not.
Yeah.
there are some interesting weight changes this year. Like crazy weight changes. The craziest of them all, which maybe you guys aren't privy to, is Lance Runyon, who has been UNI's 174 pounder for a few years. He's quality wrestler, NCAA qualifier
Yeah.
guy. He's went from 174 to now wrestling heavyweight. So that'll be interesting. Obviously, he couldn't go 84, and at 97 they have it's either Gun. Oh, they have Volker. So I mean,
Oh yeah, Volker.
but
I
so
like
he
Volker.
clearly didn't want to wrestle. I think he got pretty big too. I think he got pretty jacked. So he's going up to heavyweight, and then Corby posted in the Discord. Um, Eli Griffin from Cal Baptist. He is from 25 up to 41, which isn't crazy to see guys go up two different weights, but obviously,
I'm gonna
you
say
don't see it as
Haynes.
often. Um,
Haynes is going up two weight classes.
Levi
Levi
Haynes is
from
going
Penn
up.
State.
Yep.
I must say I saw him at trials in Omaha. I went there in person, and he looks like a full 174 pounder.
You
So
look
I
good.
so when Bumby was talking about, Penn State or at least Big Ten not getting multiple champs, I was just like, Levi Haynes is kind of looking like
I got him in the
that.
finals. I got a
I'm gonna
lot
say
of
he's kind of
Big
looking
Ten
like that guy. So
finalists.
I
Just
don't know
not.
if I don't know if I can agree with that, but go off King.
I
But yeah,
can't
nah,
wait to see the comments on that one on
I'm about to say,
Bummy
oh yeah,
picking.
I was definitely thinking like, yo, Penn State, if they find this video, they are going to cook you.
Oh no, that's what I don't want to
How
see.
could you not say Penn State's going to go 10 for 10?
Yeah, I do have a lot of them placing top three, so that's I'm not saying that's not happening. I just champ
No,
wise,
you it's
I got them
champ
all in
or
just
you hate it's champ or you hate them. That's how it
yeah,
is.
it is. Penn
And
State
I
or
hate
nothing.
never mind. I'm not going to say that.
All right.
No.
Well, I think this is a wrap on the show. I got to go see what the Steelers score is. I placed a little wager on them. Hopefully they're
There
up
you
by 6 points.
go.
Maybe they're not. Who knows? Fellas, thank you so much for joining the show. Stick around for after I wrap this thing up so we can chat for a second. But thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah.
We will see you soon. Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Who's the biggest dummy on the show? It's probably me. Let me know down below. And peace.